Essel. So we've got a new set of essays from you. This is wonderful. Let's take a look at what you wrote. This first one is about schools being more entertaining. So let's see what you had to say about that. There has been a dilemma whether a public education system should be interesting and entertain students or solely provide empirical and practical knowledge. This essay will revise both sides, use examples from what happened here. So this is confusing, but let's move on. By applying approach of capturing children's attention, for example, entertain them at the class, it might positively affect their performance. It is commonly known that pupils tend to spend more hours to learn comprehensive material if they are interested in the subject. A recent report from University of Madrid has shown that students who eager to study and like the subject spend 17 hours a week practicing the subject perform better at the test than a group of those who spend 10 hours. These figures indicate that by entertaining students at the class makes them spend more hours of learning the material. Okay, so the reason I kind of read it like that is because this isn't really a paragraph. First of all, you had this problem here where you never completed the sentence, and so we were missing some really vital information here. Okay? But apart from that, there were a couple of problems with this. And one is that even the way you wrote it, like I could see you kept hitting enter and enter and enter like after every sentence. So it didn't look and it didn't feel like a unified paragraph. It's really important for your coherence and cohesion score that the paragraph is a unified whole, okay, with a clear beginning, a clear middle, and a clear end. One way we do that is by, having continuous text. So we don't hit enter, we don't skip a line after each sentence, but we make it a unified whole. That would be the first thing. And then I want to reread it, fixing some of the grammar, and also seeing what you did in terms of development and like linking the ideas together. So let's look at it again. So by applying the approach of capturing children's attention by entertaining them in class, children's performance might be positively affected. All right, so this sentence had a lot of grammatical problems. So what are you telling us here? You're telling us that giving entertaining elements in class might help children. Now, if that's what you've said, the next sentence has to kind of link back to this, but this doesn't really do that. It's like a separate idea altogether. It is commonly known that pupils tend to spend more hours learning comprehensive material if they are interested in the subject. These aren't connected because you're telling us that entertainment will positively affect their performance, but then this is really talking about if I'm interested in the subject, I'll sit and learn it. Those are two very different ideas, okay? You could have linked them, okay? But the way they're written right now, it's like, you know what it is? It's like one sentence is point A, and then this sentence is point, like, I don't know, D or E, but you needed to link them together. So you say it might positively affect their performance. We needed like a middle idea here, something telling us that it has been found that maybe children are more enthusiastic about learning and are more receptive to learning and more receptive to maybe even difficult subjects when the subject is presented in an entertaining manner. In fact, students who were taught with entertainment were found to judge certain difficult subjects more favorably if they were taught this way. Okay, so then you could go on to some of this. Anyway, let's see what you said here. A recent report from University of Madrid, has shown that students who were eager to study and liked the subject spent, it's all in the past tense, 17 hours per week practicing this. Wait, what happened here with your grammar? Let me try it again. A recent report from the University of Madrid has shown that students who were eager to study and liked the subject spent 7 hours a week practicing the subject, comma, performing better in tests than a group of those who spent 10 hours. Okay, now again, this isn't really proving your argument. All you're telling us in this sentence is that more time spent studying improves academic performance, but that doesn't really relate back to this idea of entertainment. So I really feel like you're going off topic here, okay? These figures indicate that by entertaining students in class, no, these figures indicate that entertaining students in class makes them spend more hours learning the material. Okay, like I said, it's a tenuous argument, and I kind of feel like you went in a roundabout way to get to that point. So, like I said, I would have preferred something saying from the beginning that children are more eager to dedicate time to subjects, even difficult ones, when they are taught in an entertaining fashion. Okay, and then you could have said a lot of this stuff. All right, but I feel like you haven't really truly linked these ideas all together. Let's move on. On the other hand, the initial purpose of school is to teach the subject and explain. You keep saying comprehensive material. I'm not sure why. I feel like this is now at least the second or third time we've seen it. You said it here. I'd like to see a different expression because it feels rather repetitive like this. The old school system has been working so well until these days, thus there is no need to implement new approach to entertain students in the class. All right, let's fix that too. The initial purpose of school is to teach the subject and explain maybe complicated material. I'm not sure. The old school system has been working quite well up till now, perhaps, or until now. Thus, there is no need to implement a new approach in entertaining the students in the class. It might be appealing for students to acquire knowledge as, I don't know what this means, us, such, I'm not really sure. In such, maybe is what you mean here. In such an interactive way. However, it would cost a tremendous amount of time and resources. Okay, why? We don't start sentences with because. This is because to adjust the whole education system requires time for planning, testing, and implementing the new approach of teaching. Moreover, it obviously would be costly to train staff. All right, let's take a look at this. In fact, let's look at the other paragraph too. You started this paragraph with on the other hand. You could only do this if this paragraph started with on the one hand. These two always go together, so you cannot use one without the other. All right? So that's the first thing. I also feel like, again, there's really very little linking between these sentences. It's very similar to the previous paragraph. There's no glue. It's just they feel like very separate ideas, and I'd like you to try to get in the habit of using some nice cohesion to link these. Like words like this do a really good job of linking. So this is because, or this might be appealing for students. Okay, so this kind of thing, okay, just to prove my point, is a nice way of providing cohesion. There are also linking devices you could use. Furthermore, moreover, what is more, for example, there are lots of cohesive devices, and if you use them wisely, it really helps kind of join your ideas together. You don't want to use too many of these, but you still need to use some. Okay, now let's look at this one more time. Now, is this your opinion? I'm not really sure, because one thing that you were supposed to do here was you were supposed to say to what extent you agree or disagree. And we don't know if you agree or disagree. It's really important that you get that out in the open in the introduction. This way your position will be clear throughout the response. It feels to me like your language here is really rather firm. So it sounds like this is what you support. So let's go with that assumption. So I really kind of want to try to clean some of this stuff up, okay? All right, let's try that. On the other hand, the primary purpose of school is to teach the subjects and explain the material in a comprehensive manner. This method has worked very well for many years. Thus, there is little support in favor of implementing a new approach and entertaining students in the class. Despite the fact that this new method may be appealing for students, it is in fact costly, both in terms of time and resources. For example, implementing such new methods in an education system would require time for planning, testing, and implementing the new approach of teaching. Additionally, it would be costly to train staff. Therefore, it is clear that the disadvantages of implementing new methods that include entertainment would be very ineffective in terms of cost, or very very expensive, I guess, instead, or would not justify the cost. You could say something like that. Okay, so this is something like how I would probably take your ideas and put it in a more kind of cohesive paragraph. Okay. In conclusion, the old system of teaching has been working well, and there is no need to change it. All right, this is a little bit of cohesion. It is a way to make cohesion here by making it more entertaining. This requires time and additional funds, but the outcome would be the same. Okay, fine. So, for a first essay, it's okay. It does need a little work. Joining your ideas together. I want to see more cohesive paragraphs, essentially. All right. So let's see what you did in the second essay. Maybe we'll see something different. Let's take a look. It has been commonly known, it hasn't been commonly known, it is commonly known that reading plays a significant role in a child's mental development. However, recent studies advocate, without that S, recent studies advocate that playing is vital in the cognitive development of a child. Full stop. Now, where is the thesis sentence? Here you want to say that I believe that playing an interesting game with a child is much more important in a child's development than reading is, or is much more important in the skills development of a child than reading is. Okay, and then you're out of there, you're done. Let's move on. At the early stage of development, it is challenging to pursue a toddler to perform any monotonous activity that requires a constant attention. Get rid of this A. It is more beneficial to engage offspring in playing at this age. This is primarily because, in addition to mental development, games allow the child to build physical, emotional, and social skills. For example, remember, put the sentence right here. Don't hit enter all the time. For example, the approach from Montessori preschool states, careful, that encouraging children to play at 3 to 4 years increases their memory ability, not remembering, their memory by 28%. This approach firstly develops playing skills and later, after age 4, gradually incorporates reading into the curriculum. Full stop. I don't know why we're talking about reading here. I can't say that I totally understand that decision. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not really sure why. I think you were on the right track here. You said that it is beneficial to play. It allows them to build physical, emotional skills. You said it increases their memory by 28%. This approach firstly develops playing. And then you didn't even have to talk about reading here. I wouldn't even have mentioned it, okay? But you could have said, maybe you could have had some sort of comparison to reading, that it increases their memory by 28% compared to children who only read. All right, that would have been a nice comparison to make. All right, let's move on. Regarding, what does this say? Regarding to reading abilities at early age might lead to a less rounded development of a child. There is some awkwardness here. It's word choice, it's grammar, it's a little bit of both. So, I'm not really sure what you mean by regarding. This is the wrong word here. So, maybe focusing on reading abilities at an early age might lead to a less rounded development of a child. At the age of 3 to 5 years old, toddlers have not, we always write the word fully out, acquired concentrating skills to comprehend the material, full stop. Therefore, it might be challenging for them and eventually they would lose interest in studying. Full stop. And don't hit enter, just keep going on this line. Research from the University of Melbourne advocates that implementing reading into a curriculum at the age of 5 years significantly increases chances by 30% that a child will perform better at school. All right, here I'm confused. I thought that this was about the fact that, if you're focusing on reading, this is not such a great idea. Okay? And you said that it's challenging and they would lose interest. But you're saying, what are you saying here? That if they're reading at 5, then they'll do better at school. So I'm really rather confused here. Unless, we're talking about young children, so even saying that they're reading at 5 is still considered a child. I think I know how you meant it. You said, no, avoid reading between 3 to 5. Do it after 5. But the essay doesn't say that, up to 5 and then that's it. So I think you've misunderstood this a little bit. For me, it just sounds like this is contradictory. So here you're saying that from 3 to 5, no, don't focus on reading, but then from 5 on, yeah, focus on reading. So you can see how there's some contradiction here. The essay, the task never says, young children up to age 5. So what you've really done is just contradicted yourself here, and that doesn't help. It doesn't make that cohesive kind of paragraph that we need to get a good score. But the other thing that I want you to remember is that the point of this essay is not to kind of slam reading. We're not saying, oh, reading is, evil and we shouldn't focus on it. What we're really concerned with in this essay is skills development. What creates better skills development and creativity development? Is it these fun activities or is it reading? This is what the focus should be on. So here, yeah, focus on, what did you say here? Let me see if I can remember. You talked about memory. Okay, so fine, that's a skill. Your ability to remember, memory, that's fine. So that's a skill. Here, rather than focusing on reading, you should have been focusing, you could have talked about reading, but the focus should have been on the development of skills. Okay, whether reading helps accomplish this or whether a fun activity helps accomplish this. Also, don't forget that you needed to talk about creativity, because the essay says better skills and creativity. So they've separated creativity. They've taken it as its own little entity and they want you to talk about it. So you cannot neglect to talk about creativity. Otherwise, you're absolutely going to lower your task achievement score. Okay? So let's take a look now at your conclusion. Remember, don't forget to hit enter here. So you see you got a space here, a line here. Here you needed another line just to show that this is now a new paragraph. So in conclusion, comma, from the arguments given above, I firmly support the idea of playing with a child at the early stage of development rather than forcing reading. Get rid of with. If the child experienced a playing stage, he or she would have a better attitude towards reading later on. So differentiate that. Don't forget the full stop. I liked that you ended with a conditional. It's a nice advanced grammatical structure. So that was a very good idea to end strong like that with a nice advanced structure. It's an essay that needs work though. Okay. For your first essays, it's a good start, but they need work. All right. And I think we've talked quite a bit about the different elements: grammar, vocabulary, task achievement, and coherence and cohesion. So go ahead, work on these, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your next set of essays. Get them to us as soon as you can. Correct these essays based on the suggestions in this video. And also, don't forget to start an error correction list. Mistakes, and then next to the mistakes, the correct version. Okay? I'll be waiting, so good luck to you.